the many men that Missy Woods helped send to prison may soon go free. It is the first conviction tied to that disgraced DNA analyst to be vacated. Woods is now the one facing charges. The man is Michael Clark. He's been in prison since 2012 for a murder committed in Boulder in 1994. His attorneys have been fighting to have his sentence vacated for months. They argue the conviction was based on faulty testimony from Woods, who's now accused of deleting and manipulating data in 800 cases. Today, the district attorney's office that prosecuted Clark agreed the conviction should be tossed. A judge vacated the conviction. Now Clark could get out of jail on a $100,000 bond while prosecutors consider whether they will take the case back to trial. President Trump's on-again, off-again trade war against the world has not just caused chaos on the stock market, it also has created uncertainty for Coloradans trying to run small businesses. Our Spencer Soyster has the story of a businesswoman and a boatload of stuff somewhere between here and China.
Okay.
This may soon be a rare sight for Lexi Larson.
This is for the crew neck and then matching sweatpants.
She's opening boxes for her Denver-based clothing company, Sunday Cherries. Sunday Cherries is just about a year old, but the inventory counting may stop because her incoming shipments may too.
I won't be shipping anything else out of China until that tariff is not in place.
All of the clothes Lexi designs are made and shipped in from China. She says she's explored American manufacturing options, but found it to be 3 to 4 times more expensive.
I've just not been happy with the quality or the customer service or the price. So,
with a now 145% tariff in place, she's stuck and can't afford to keep ordering.
yeah, for sure.
Lexi has 3 orders that she placed before the most recent tariff change. One that arrived today, another that's been ordered but hasn't been shipped yet, and another that's on a ship on the water somewhere.
Yeah, this is the one that's coming on Tuesday. It's 13 boxes, so we will see.
Whether she'll pay a tariff on that one and what it'll be, she doesn't know. Nobody seems to know.
This is what we call regime uncertainty.
Metro State Economics Department Chair Alexandre Padilla says the fluidity can be especially crushing to small business owners that don't have the cash flow to ride out the changes. The university's economics department points out that historically, if an order had already been placed, new tariffs wouldn't apply. But in this case, it's not clear.
You do not know when under what rule is going to be applied, what policy is going to be applied, enforced, when is it going to be enforced.
For Lexi, she's down to her last 300 non-tariffed hoodies. Now she waits to find out how much her next few orders will cost and how long she can keep her business alive.
And that would hopefully probably last me 1 to 3 months. So that's how long we have.
Doesn't think she uses an American if she uses an American manufacturer, that she'll be able to provide a product at a price point that people would pay. She already says she has an expensive sweatshirt that she's offering. Nobody wants to pay double $200 for a hoodie. Good luck.
Yeah, so, I mean, just on China policy alone, 4 big changes in 10 days. You'll hear Trump's supporters say the uncertainty is part of his deal, right? He's going to own those Chi-Coms by keeping them on their feet. Meanwhile, she's the one dancing around trying to figure this out.
Right. It's hard for us to keep track of it 4 times in 10 days. Imagine just a business owner trying to put out orders and trying to figure out what they're supposed to get out, what they're going to have to pay, trying to figure out the differences in bottom line. It's confusing for them. It's confusing for us.
It's stressful, right?
Yeah.
All right, Spencer Soyster, thank you. Colorado is currently staring down the Trump administration over a threat to pull school funding if schools here don't stop certain diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. The State Department of Ed says it will not comply. The Fed's deadline to fall in line is coming up within days. The Trump administration says that some DEI practices are illegal. At a state school board meeting yesterday, Colorado Education Commissioner Susana Cordova said she does not plan to sign off on the Trump administration's demands or ask Colorado school districts to comply. Cordova says the demand letter is too vague and it didn't go through the legal process to cut school funding.
I would be uncomfortable signing a certification that lacks definitions and clarity around what is or is not prohibited. And I think that's particularly true given that the certifications come with the potential consequences of loss of federal funds. And so I am not signing that. I'm not asking our districts to sign that.
Cordova insists that schools in Colorado already comply with Title VI, which prohibits racial discrimination. Our next conversation tonight is with the new frontrunner in the race for Colorado governor. Democratic Senator Michael Bennett got into the race as expected today, endorsed already by Senator John Hickenlooper, and was flanked for his announcement this morning by Congressman Jason Crow and Joe Neguse, both contenders to replace Bennett in the Senate if he's elected governor. I asked Senator Bennett if he is trying to leave Washington to become the governor, because he acknowledges that President Trump and Republicans have Democrats boxed in and beaten at the federal level for the foreseeable future.
I think what you just said is correct. I think the Democratic Party was repudiated at the national level by Donald Trump. I blame him for many, many things, but I don't blame him for being elected president. You know, the Democratic Party failed to come up with a compelling vision for the future of our economy and for our kids. And I think the place where there's going to be meaningful pushback, I think, is going to be the states.
Many of America's most expensive places to live, where opportunity is most limited, are run by your party, including Colorado. So how does your party fix that?
That is a fact. We have to be for building more housing. We have to be for building housing that's less expensive. We have to be for reducing regulations so that it doesn't take years and years and years for people to build housing all over the state. One of the things that I loved about being superintendent of schools in Denver was that I never met a teacher who didn't live in Denver. It was emphatically not Seattle. It was emphatically not San Francisco. Now, all over Colorado, there are people that are having to drive 2 hours to get to work. We're turning into California. And with all respect to California, I don't want Colorado to turn into California.
You supported more of President Trump's cabinet nominees than most other Senate Democrats. You supported his picks to lead energy and labor and agriculture. I wrote them down. CIA, the VA, transportation, Interior, State Department. These are folks who have gone on to oversee the mass layoffs of Coloradans at the Forest Service and the Park Service. Do you regret your support of those folks?
I don't. For every one of them, I had my reasons, and I think they were good reasons. We can go through them. I mean, I supported the agriculture secretary because I'm on the agriculture committee. Our farmers and ranchers, by the way, most of whom are Republicans in Colorado, are in really tough shape because of a whole variety of things, ranging from drought to Trump's tariffs to the cost of inputs. And I thought it was important for us to have a senator who had a working relationship with the person in that. Same thing with the agency, same thing at the VA.
You say that by voting for these people and supporting them, that pays off in some way for Coloradans. How has your support for them paid off in these scenarios where people are being laid off?
Kyle, I think that's a fair question, and we'll have to look, 2 years from now to really answer it.
Okay.
I think that's a fair question.
That's just a bit of my full 20-minute conversation today with Senator Michael Bennett, where we also discuss whether he will be willing to take on reforms of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, something a lot of Democrats want, in a way that Governor Polis has not been willing to do. And we also get into why Bennett thinks that Democrats should be talking more about the benefits of democracy rather than just rallying people to resist Trump. You can watch our conversation unedited in full on the next YouTube channel and on 9news.com, or you can find an audio version wherever you find the next podcast. One of the best parts about getting together with you here each weeknight is that when we see a challenge in the community, we often have the chance to work together to improve the situation. Don't just watch, do something. Community College of Aurora announced recently it is canceling its citizenship classes after the loss of a federal grant. But together, we're going to start them back up again. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign has already raised more than $20,000 in one-time donations. CCA says more than 1,000 people have gone through their classes to prepare for the naturalization test to become citizens. These are people who are in this country legally and just want to achieve their dream to become Americans. They pay a small amount for the classes. The rest was subsidized by the federal grant so that income was not a barrier to preparing for the naturalization test. These classes are a 10-week process where students from 73 different countries have studied American history, civics, they fine-tune their English, they do mock interviews, they go through the vocabulary that they're likely to see on the naturalization test, and they hear from community speakers about what it means to be an American. They prepare to contribute in their own way to their adopted country. It's good stuff. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of others in donating. And the reason that we're confident The Community College of Aurora is going to be able to restart these citizenship classes is thanks to the 4,500 of you who make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. We started this micro-giving campaign with about $23,000 in donations, layered on another $20K. You've paid for a year of these classes. We're working on year number 2.
The wildfire season is year-round, so we're continuously training and prepping.
Colorado fire crews don't have to get ready because they stay ready year-round, though this will be a particularly high-risk weekend. And our weekly quest to find your good news is a marathon, not a sprint. This week we found it with some students putting in miles on West Colfax. If you had a literal truckload of marijuana, how fast could you go through it or find people who wanted to help you in that work? Well, whoever stole 600 pounds of weed from a Colorado State Patrol evidence yard went through it at a rate of 50 pounds a day. Because CSP found the stolen stash, there's 450 pounds left. CSP's been looking for the lost pot since April 4th when they realized it had been stolen out of a trailer in Englewood. Theft happened days earlier and CSP didn't have much to go on other than surveillance footage of vehicles they thought might be involved. Well, you know what? Police were able to connect one of the vehicles to a home in Denver. That's where CSP found what was left. CSP says nobody was arrested. The remaining 450 pounds have been booked back into evidence. This time, get this, they're going to try putting it indoors. Firefighters in Colorado are no longer bound by what used to be the typical fire season in the hottest months. They stay ready year-round. And with hot temperatures and fire danger in the forecast for this weekend, West Metro's ready whenever they're called.
So let's go ahead and fill it up.
As it goes, wildfire season is year-round. So we're continuously training and prepping.
Go, go, go!
All right, nice.
So we're teaching some crews how to draft, how to get water from whether it's a pond, a river, a portable tank, to refill their trucks or to provide for a water supply for a firefight.
In most of our wildland fire scenarios, we do run into a lot of areas where we don't have readily available water supplies, such as fire hydrants.
Yellow's off.
So we do need to have that mobile water supply.
Green's off.
And the opportunity to refill out and about in the environment. The water tanks, we call them drop tanks. They're 2,100 gallons apiece.
We'll put those tanks down on the ground, deliver the water to those tanks, while the engine at those tanks will be using their hoses to fight the fire.
Cool.
Training like this for wildland fire response is critical at all times of the year around Colorado. We've had not as much snow as we have in previous years during that March timeframe. As we've seen, we've already had a number of red flag warning days with low relative humidities and very windy days. And we again have predicted record temperatures this weekend.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But we are expecting to become busier as we push further into the spring.
All right. Good work, guys.
The heat feels weird, Corey Reppening. I'm sorry, I was out in the garden this morning, right? And you got all the spring flowers out there. You got your daffodils and your hyacinths and your tulips and summer heat on top of them.
Yeah, it came fast, and you're right. This is one of our earlier 80-degree days, so it's about 16 days earlier than normal to have that 80-degree day. And the intense, the heat, it was definitely feeling it, and we're going to feel it again tomorrow. Not quite as sunny, but the forecast once again is 85 for tomorrow, or actually the record high, and the forecast is 86. If we do hit 86 tomorrow, that would be the earliest 86 on record here in Denver. All these temperatures across the state are going to be really warm here, close to 90 in the northeast, close to 100 in the southeast, and look at that, could hit close to 70 degrees up in the mountain towns of Summit County. We do have fire weather warnings in place almost all the way down the east side of the Colorado Rocky Mountains. Fire weather is the combination that weather creates adverse conditions on fire starts and fire behavior. The humidity could get as down as low as 7% tomorrow, so almost no moisture in the air at all tomorrow. And then we'll have a cold front come through on Sunday morning. That will significantly drop the temperatures here, and we could even get a little bit of snow on Sunday morning on Sunday night into Monday morning, and then we'll warm things back up for the rest of the week, Kyle.
School of Mines students are getting their steps in today on West Colfax.
My good news is it's not raining and it's a beautiful day to pull this cart.
Are you pulling it or pushing it?
I guess today I'm pushing it now.
She's got to be one of those first-year engineering students. That is a Mines tradition, and our weekly tradition, sharing the good news in the lives of our neighbors, is next. What a perfect day for a walk, a 7-mile walk, pulling an ore cart, if you're a School of Mines student. We caught up with them on Colfax to ask our favorite Friday question. What's your good news?
My good news is it's ore cart pull.
My good news is that these mines students are about to have a great time. They're about to have some fun. They've been working hard all semester long, and now they're about to have a break and have a good time.
My good news is it's not raining and it's a beautiful day to pull this cart.
Are you pulling it or pushing
I
it?
guess today I'm pushing right now.
My good news is I'm going to Harvard next semester. My good news is I passed my OChem exam.
My good news is I survived a stroke.
My good news is I have accepted a job opportunity at Zap Engineering in construction for a full-time position as an electrical engineer.
My good news is that I had a bunch of assignments this week before E-Days, and I tried to just finish them all at once, and it worked out.
School year's almost over. That's good news.
They're starting to run.
I defended my master's thesis last week.
My good news is that my grandfather is recovering from a brain bleed in the hospital and he's doing very well.
My good news is I got a 93% on my genetics test. Yeah, a little bit. My feet hurt.
Last kid bit it pretty good. Got to be careful, don't want to take a fall. Oh, okay. We're back with your feedback next. The most Colorado thing we saw today is the city of Fort Collins really selling those council meetings as a can't-miss show.
We bring you an agenda so packed with action. You'll pay nothing for your free seat, but you'll only need the edge. This council meeting has everything. Minutes to approve. Library board reappointments. What about the charter? We're gonna modernize it.
I do not have words for how much I love this. They went full Monster Jam with the council session preview on Instagram. Now, if you actually go to the meeting, it looks like this. Yeah, it's basically just a normal meeting, but I really respect them for selling it hard. Feedback tonight from Joel. Joel has been critical of some of our Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign selections, and he wrote in to say, nice to see that you have shifted your giving to need versus a charity. It's interesting you say that, Joel, because a number of people wrote in to say that citizenship classes are not a need and we shouldn't be fundraising for that. And I would say the most frequent cause that we fundraise for in our community is food insecurity, which I would classify as a need and not a charity. As always, this stuff is voluntary. If you want to be part of it, join us.